Good evening, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Deep Dixie Racing Report, coming to you live from the Rescues Smokehouse Grill on Exit 75, right here off of Interstate 75. Guys, you've got to come and try this good food. This is the traveling season, a lot of people vacationing, and we just met some fine folks that come from up around Chicago, checking out the Rescue Smokehouse Grill. They're going to be open until 10 o'clock tonight. Whatever food you choose, it's going to be good. I guarantee it. We always eat, make sure that we get here a little early so that we can get some of that good food. We appreciate Raymond and Amy Poor and our friends here at Smokehouse for allowing us to bring the show to you. And also a big thank you to our friends at 5 Star Hyundai, Mr. Mike Hurd and the award-winning staff of 5 Star Hyundai down in Warner Robins, Georgia. One of our proud sponsors. We appreciate all that they do to help us out. And, of course, Mr. Bill Cheek and our friends at Heartland EMS down in Cochran, Georgia. We sure do appreciate all of the support and all of the love that they give to us. It's been a while since we've been here, Brian. We actually tried to do a live broadcast, and Brian was diligent. We got some good footage, some interviews last Thursday night, the week before that. We were not able to make it. There was some bad storms in the area and things like that. And so I believe if I'm thinking right, Dale was telling me it's been about 3 weeks since we've been here. But we're really glad to be back with you here on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. And guys, we are absolutely loaded tonight. We've got a lot of things to talk about. Sadly, not all of them are good, Brian. And we knew that when we started this show that we were going to have all kinds of information and all kinds of things happening. And one of the things that we knew eventually would happen, it's just life, is there would be some sad news to report. And there's a few things that our hearts are heavy about. We've got a lot of stuff to get to. Going to be joined live here in the restaurant in just a little bit by the driver of the 01 car in the late model division and the sportsman division, fresh off of a big win in the All-Star Stock Car Series at Cochran. Young gun, Mr. Cole Exum, going to be joining us live. We're going to be talking to Daryl Corson down at Golden Isle Speedway toward the end of the show. A big program coming up down there. And I think a lot of what we're going to do in the beginning, Brian, is just kind of go back and recap some things that have happened. But as always, before we do anything else with this show, we always open up with a word of prayer. We believe in faith, family, and country here at the Deep Dixie Racing Report. And guys, I think everybody's probably heard by now that we've lost a couple of members of our racing family. Sadly, unexpectedly, I'm still in shock over it. We lost a young man down in Cochran, Mr. Will Thompson, a little over a week ago. And we are still grieving his loss, and our prayers and thoughts continue to go out to his family. And of course, just 2 days ago, I got the news that one of the legendary dirt track racers in all of Georgia, certainly Middle Georgia, they called him the legend. There's a good reason for that. Mr. Johnny Tribble passed away after a valiant fight with an illness, and our thoughts and prayers go out to Johnny's family. And so we're going to be talking more about that as the show goes on. It's going to be a real good show, guys. A lot of interesting things we're going to be bringing up. And so hang in here with us. But right now, wherever you're at, as always, we're going to ask you, if you will, please take a moment and pause as we go to the Lord in prayer. Father, we thank you once again that you know exactly what's going on, and you know exactly where we are. Every person, Lord, that's tuning in tonight, you see everything that has transpired since we were able to visit last. And sadly, we've lost some people that we dearly love and that we're very close to. And I know that there are many heavy hearts out there tonight. I know that there are family members that are exhausted in their minds and in their bodies, and their eyes have shed many tears, and we pray for them. We pray for Will Thompson's family and Johnny Tribble's family. And I know there's others that are going through things as well. We just pray for special comfort and strength for them. We pray for all of those that are sick among us in our racing family. And Lord, as always, we ask that the upcoming weekend that you would just protect everybody that will be competing, all the fans and all the crews that will be driving to the different tracks all over. We just pray for safe passage. And Lord, we ask that you keep your hand on our servicemen and women all over the world, as well as their families that missed them terribly. We ask that you bring them home safely and that you bring them home soon. And we pray all of these things in the name of Jesus. At this time, we're going to honor America with the playing of our national anthem. And God bless America. Once again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Deep Dixie Racing Report. Of course, I'm your host, Pastor Todd Sharon, track announcer at Cochran Motor Speedway, joined by my good buddy Brian Hester, who does a lot of stuff, both behind the scenes and in front of the camera, to help out the Deep Dixie Racing Report. And as always, my good buddy, known him a long time, does a great job, Dale Hall, the producer of the show, behind the camera. And Brian, we're going to start out, I think it would be fitting if we just kind of went back and revisited the lives of a couple people that I know that you and I knew well. We certainly are saddened by the news of anybody passing or anything like that, but sometimes when it is unexpectedly and there are young people involved, it is very, very hard thing to process. And by the way, if you're just tuning in, we welcome you to the Deep Dixie Racing Report. We're coming to you live from the Rescue Smokehouse Grill on Exit 75 on Interstate 75. The show is brought to you each and every week, Thursday evening, 7 to 9 p.m. live by our friends at 5-Star Hyundai, Mr. Mike Hurd, and the award-winning staff down there at the 5-Star Hyundai dealership in Warner Robins. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, maybe a pre-owned vehicle, or you just need some good, trustworthy maintenance done on your vehicle, they service all makes and models, and they'll be glad to take care of you. Mike, we appreciate all of your support. Also, Mr. Bill Cheek and our friends at Heartland EMS, some of the finest people I know. They've been a huge blessing to the racing family. We appreciate all of your help, Mike and Mr. Bill. Brian, I got the news about Will Thompson. I was actually visiting with my wife just a few moments before we were getting ready to start our day. We do that pretty much every day. And Chris Martin, the track owner at Cochran, he called me, and he gave me the sad news that Will had passed away. And, of course, you're trying to wrap your mind around it. And Will was 28 years old. He was about 2 weeks shy, actually a little less than 2 weeks away from his 29th birthday. Will was a fierce competitor, very much a part of the mix in the pure stock division. Matter of fact, we got Blake Martin that drove down tonight, and I know that Blake could probably tell us a lot of stories about some hard racing with Will Thompson. And just in the last year or so, Will got him a sportsman car and mixing it up with the sportsman division, which has come back in a big, big way. Usually have 10, 12 cars at our place each week, sometimes more. Yeah. But Brian, I know that you, like me, you've known Will for a long time. What are some of your thoughts and your memories about Will?
Just, me and Blake talked about him before. It's, fierce competitor. Get everything his way. He pretty much done out of his pocket, his own shop. And, was successful at it. You know, he's one of them that could just make stuff go. You know, he could make it work. And just had a knack for it. And like I said, I think he's done a lot. If I'm not mistaken, Blake can tell me different, but I think he did a lot of his own cars and stuff, from what I understand. So, you know, that kind of harkens back to kind of like the old days, you know, building your own stuff and doing your own thing,
Right.
You know, making it work. You know, and he worked pretty hard too. I think he was in the construction business and stayed at it pretty hard. So that's how I had kind of found out, I think, through Tyler Sanders and some of them through Facebook was, and I was kind of like at a shop, you know, I just, you know, but you just don't never know. You know, and Cochran's been hit going all the way back to Troy Talley last fall.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, we've lost several through, and I think a week or so before, guy Bobby.
Mr. Bobby Holmes, and Bobby Young was another one.
We got Tony Pettis just passed away.
Right,
So Cochran, and we had just talked about that no more than a month ago on the show.
Right.
We was prepping one night, and we talked about how hard the racing community had been hit that area, lost.
Yeah, I know, well said, and I think Will, everything that you described, that was Will Thompson, and it was so funny. A little short story before we move on. We do, of course, a racing interview each week down at Cochran to try to fill in some of that time between when folks get there and when we're actually able to get started. We call it Behind the Wheel, and I've had the opportunity to talk to many drivers, and Will, he wasn't real fond to get behind the mic or anything like that. And the last time I was going to interview Will, I actually called him up and talked to him, and I went back and looked. It was about 3 weeks ago, and Will told me, he says, "Pastor Todd, I'm not sure if I'm going to get there on time." And it was kind of funny because I knew Will just didn't like to do that. And sure enough, about the time that we got done singing the national anthem, here goes Will pulling into the infield, and I saw him. He got there, but man, I will really, really miss Will Thompson, and I know that probably some of his family, many friends are watching tonight. And guys, we're still praying for you. And one of the greatest honors of my ministry, his family asked myself and Emery Howell, another pastor at the track in Cochran. He's an engine builder. Brother Emery and I was able to do Will's service just a week ago, and not even a week. Saturday will be a week. And so to all of the family, God bless you. We're still praying for you. And
big family.
Yeah, exactly. A
lot of families involved around racing too. Yeah.
Standing room only, by the way, at the funeral. Of course, we're off at Cochran this weekend. That's been scheduled for a long time, the mid-season break. But when we do come back, we are going to be doing some tributes for Will. And I'm sure this brings us right up to the next thing. A gentleman, and when I say gentleman, I mean that.
Yes.
The legend, the driver of the 66 car, Johnny Tribble. Johnny was still a very young man. I think he was 61, maybe even 60. And he has fought a long battle. There have been many times over the last probably 3-4 years, maybe even going back farther than that Johnny would be up at the hospital in Macon. And there was several times when things were very serious, even several years ago.
Right.
Johnny always seemed to bounce back, but sadly, we lost Johnny this week. And as a matter of fact, his funeral is going to be held tomorrow. And I'm told, Brian, by his family. By the way, we're going to be joined a little bit later on in the program by Johnny's granddaughter and possibly some other family members. She's going to be giving us her thoughts about Johnny. But I'm being told that tomorrow at the funeral that Will Harrington is going to drive Johnny's car and kind of lead the procession. And of course, David Poole, Keith Eggs, those guys very close with Johnny. They wanted to try to do something as a tribute to Johnny. And that kind of, the word got out. And last I heard was right now, I think there are about 10 drivers that have committed to bring their race cars, and that's probably going to grow.
Right.
So that's going to be one of those chill bump moments tomorrow, Brian. Yeah. Johnny has, one thing I thought about when I thought about Johnny, everybody gets emotional in racing. Everybody loses it from time to time, even the best. Maybe you can think of a time, but I personally, I have never, ever seen Johnny Tribble act out of place, say anything out of place. I've seen Johnny be took out, absolutely been run over. I have seen him get the short end of the stick. I never saw Johnny act a fool. I never seen him act up, and that's something that I always respected about him.
Yeah, I've known him since I was a kid, and my next door neighbor's post would they was about the only one around that had a set of scales, and they would weigh out people's cars over in Dublin. But I remember him and Carl Waters would bring their cars up sometimes and weigh them out, do set up stuff and all. But later on in life, I think it was around, I won't say the late 90s, he built a go-kart track.
Really?
Back, yep, off of that creek back in there. I can't remember what the name of the place is. You go out through McCrae and you made a left there before you get to the high school. That's where he lived back in there. And he built a go-kart track, and it was very successful.
Mm-hmm.
But he was talking about that, and I was thinking about it on the way down here. I remember one night I went down there and just cleaned house. And David Pickle was with me, and we won everything there. And I could tell he was aggravated and mad with me. I got kind of rough with somebody, and he wanted to say something. I mean, he wanted to get after me. He was red as that Coca-Cola cup right there, but he never said a word to me. Ever did. He never got out of place with me about that. And I always thought about that, but he was nice and he was generous.
Yeah,
very generous. I've heard some stories about. Well, I'm gonna say they're true, but loaning whole motors, whole cars, and stuff to people, so they could either get their points or it just didn't matter. I've heard. A friend of mine, Robbie Dyson, told me his stuff he had amassed down there at his shop was a bunch of stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you one thing, man. We always hate to lose a member of our racing family, and you're right. We have been hit hard. But I'm going to tell you, man, Johnny Tribble, he was the consummate gentleman. This guy was a baller on the racetrack, man. I mean, he was a winner. And I remember one time over at East Alabama, I can't remember if it was the state race, the nationals. You might have been there. I was actually up in the tower that day helping out with the announcing. And Johnny had led pretty much the whole race. And at the end of the race, I don't know if it was a drive shaft or something come out, but Johnny on the white flag lap, he stayed in the gas. And I mean, you could see there was something terribly wrong with the car. Comes across the start finish line, one of the most horrific crashes I've ever seen there. Car gets airborne, it barrel rolls and everything. And of course, there's that dead silence, hoping that. Was you there that day, Brian? It was incredible. I actually have a video of that. And when we went to the points banquet that year, I was teasing Johnny about it. It was pretty incredible how that everything happened. And Johnny, man, he just never ever lifted. It was like I'm going to win, or I'm going to win big, or I'm going to wreck big. And but anyway, our thoughts and prayers go out to Johnny family, and they're actually having the visitation tonight. For those of you that would be interested in attending his funeral, it's going to be tomorrow at 11 a.m. It's going to be held at Lowe, L-O-W-E, Lowe Funeral Home, and I think that is actually in McCrae. It might be in Helena.
It just, they're right there together.
Right.
I think it's up there before you get to the railroad track and head back toward Easton.
Okay, so if you just Google Lowe's Funeral Home in either McCrae, Georgia, Helena, you'll be able to go on there. And if you can't make it, there is a place that you can leave a comment or some words of encouragement for the family. And as we mentioned earlier, we're going to be able to visit later on with some of Johnny's family and possibly even some drivers. Again, if you are just tuning in, thank you for joining us on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. It's been a while since we've been here at the Rescue Smokehouse Grill. We've took the show on the road a couple of weeks and actually got rained out one of those weeks. And with tornadoes and all kinds of dangerous weather, we were set to do some live broadcasting. That didn't work out. And but we are glad to be back with you tonight. And got a great show. We just opened up, sadly, reminiscing and remembering and honoring a few members of our racing family. Will Thompson, driver of the 31 car for years in the pure stock division, recently moved up to the sportsman division. We lost him. And then Johnny Tribble, the legend, driver of the 66 car, passed away earlier this week. And so thank you for allowing us to share that. Let me give you a real quick rundown. We're going to be on the line here in just a moment. Matter of fact, Dale, give me about 30 seconds. We're going to see if we can get a hold of my buddy, Mr. Ben Sumner. Ben is the promoter of the Southern Thunder late model series, and those guys have a huge race coming up this weekend down in Brunswick at Golden Isle Speedway, paying $5,000 to win in that series. And also Carol and Leo Johnson's All-Star Stock Car Series, they're going to be in Brunswick as well this weekend, also paying $5,000 to win. I know that we are off at Cochran, and those of you that would normally come and visit Cochran Motor Speedway, if you want to take in some really, really good racing, make the trip down to Brunswick at Golden Isles. Mr. Daryl Corson, we're going to be joining him a little bit later on in the evening. A lot of racing going on down there this weekend. Dale, let's see if we can get a hold of Ben and talk to him a little bit about what's happening in the Southern Thunder late model
Back-to-back series with you guys. That's really
okay. Cool.
Yeah, because they just had the Ultimate Series this past weekend and all, super late models.
Yeah, Ben.
Hey, man.
Pastor Todd Sharon, Deep Dixie Racing Report. How are you, friend?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Oh man, we're doing good. We're just talking about all the action that's going to be happening down at Golden Isle Speedway. And by the way, if you're just tuning in, thanks for joining us on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. We are joined on the line right now by the promoter of the Southern Thunder Late Model Series, Mr. Ben Sumner. And Ben, this has got to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest race of the entire year happening down in Brunswick this weekend. Give us the details on that, buddy.
Well, man, it's going to be a great weekend for sure, Pastor Todd. We're going to start out on Friday night, July the 10th. Tomorrow night, we'll have qualifying and heat races for the Southern Thunder Late Model Series. And as you mentioned, the All-Star Stock Car Series will be on hand with their qualifying procedure. Plus, they're going to have a full racing program in the Super Street and E-Mod division. And then the action will continue on Saturday. 40-lap main event, 5,000 to win, 350 to start for the Southern Thunder Late Model Series, and of course All-Star Stock Car Series, $5 grand to win, plus a full program with the Endurance and the 440s on Saturday night. So it's going to be a great weekend. We're going to do our Fan of the Week tennis ball toss on Saturday night. I've also got a few gifts we're going to give out on Friday night, some of the fans, and just excited about it. It's going to be a big one, I guarantee you.
Yeah, man. And for those of you that have never, ever been to Golden Isle, that is a fast, big, beautiful racetrack, man. They have the Super Bowl down there to kick off each one of the racing seasons. That's kind of become a staple event. And as far as the Southern Thunder Late Model Series goes, I've known Ben Sumner for a long time, and anything that Ben has put his hand to, he's succeeded at it, and this series has been in operation now. I think this is the second year, and these guys, everywhere they go, they've been to our place at Cochran several times. There is always a very good car count, a lot of healthy competition, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed by what you see in the Southern Thunder Late Model Division. Now, Ben, you had told me that there's a lot of parity in this series. There's been a couple guys that's won maybe 2 races, but for the most part, pretty much every time you guys have went out thus far, you've had a different winner. Kind of give us the breakdown on that.
Well, this year, this will be our 9th race coming up, but we've had 8 up to this point, and 8 main events and 8 different winners, and this is our 2nd season. After 16 shows, we've had 14 different winners, and wow. I mean, everybody just, man, they do just such a great job, and everybody's equipment's top notch. Last time we were at Golden Isle for the Super Bowl back in February, top 24 spots, the top 20 was within 4/10 of a second in qualifying. Wow. And I mean, that is a lot right there.
Yes, yes.
But just everybody does a great job, and we try to put on a professional show, and the drivers do a great job for remaining professional, and just trying to keep plugging, waiting to see if we're going to have our 9th, different winner of the year, or will this be our first repeat winner of the year.
Yeah, man, that's going to be a real good show. And guys, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to get a pretty much a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to see 2 series that race down there, paying $5,000 to win in the All-Star Stock Car Series. Carol and Leo Johnson, that's their series, and then of course the Southern Thunder late models with Ben Sumner. Ben, I know that any time that you branch out and you try to move into an area of promoting, there's always the economy to consider. You've got to take a look at what's going on schedule-wise, other series and things like that. And it is not a small thing to actually jump in as a promoter. Real quickly, in a snapshot, tell us how this idea came about and how you brought it into reality.
As far as kicking the series off, had thought about it for a couple of years, prior to doing it, and just really a lot of deep thought went into it. A lot of conversation with Don King, there, Albany, and just several other people, and the short version of it, basically had several sponsors come up and put together the funding for a very nice points fund. And, it just kind of went from there. I mean, it went from September of 2013 saying, okay, we'll do it, and our first race January 2014, and just a lot of work went into it, and it's something that I put my whole heart into. Is definitely not anything trying to make a living at, but just the love of the sport, and just really enjoy doing it. Want to have something, professional for the drivers and the racetracks, and just be a good deal for everybody involved. And we couldn't do it without the support of the race teams, the racetracks, the sponsors that came on board and signed back on board this year, and of course the fans. You would not believe the amount of fans that we have that I see at every race over and over. This travel and following our deal, and that's great for the racetrack, and it just makes me humbled to be able to see that, what we're trying to, grow into.
Yeah, man. Well said, Ben. And, guys, if you're just tuning in, we are joined on the line right now by the promoter of the Southern Thunder Late Model Series, Mr. Ben Sumner. And I can tell you that having worked with Ben in several capacities over the years, he's been a member of our team at Cochran at probably several points along the way. But Ben is one of those guys that he thinks about things, and God has really blessed this man with a lot of management skills. And every time that they've been to our place, I can tell you the racing has been outstanding. I mean, we want to see everybody make it. We really do. We want to see everybody that tries and invests money make it. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't. But I can tell you, if there are any track owners that are tuning into the show right now, maybe there are some companies out there that you've been kind of thinking about maybe getting on board with some sponsorship and getting your business a little more exposure. I can tell you right now that this guy that I'm talking to, Ben Sumner, he's the real deal. What you see is what you get on and off the racetrack. And for track owners and things like that, you're not going to go wrong bringing Ben Sumner there. They're going to put on a real good show for you. There's not a lot of drama that goes along with it. There's outstanding racing and enough competition that you don't have one person just absolutely blistering everybody. 8 races, 8 different winners, a total of 16 total races in this series with 14 different winners. And then Ben was saying 0.4 of a second separated the top 20 qualifiers. I can't even do the math on that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just a smidgen. But Ben, give us a rundown of the sponsors that help you out, buddy.
Well, Hoosier Race Tire, the official and only tire of the Southern Thunder Late Model Series. Laster Equipment Company, Kelly Walker Trucking, Deeper Race Engines, Wildcat Performance Engines, Gaze Tire Service, DNS Concrete, Osseo Properties, Tyson Steel Company, and just that's our primary sponsors there, and just appreciate every one of them and what they do for the drivers and coming on board with the series like they have over the past couple of years.
Yeah, man, that's a great list of sponsors. I recognize some of them, but before we let you go, man, I know that you guys have a way that you can be contacted. I'm not sure as far as what you got on social media. I think you have a Facebook page, maybe a website. Tell us how people can follow along with the Southern Thunder late models and how they can get in touch with you if they would want to help out with sponsors or maybe have questions about the series.
Okay, probably the easiest thing to do, if you just Google Southern Thunder Late Model Series, it will immediately pull our 2 pages up at the top of the list. One of those being our website, and then our Facebook page is also right under that, and that will probably be the easiest way to locate us there. All the contact information, phone numbers, all that is available on the website. And we're just talking about what we're building on this year. We've already got stuff on the books for next year, and it's just coming together. I mean, we're going to be going back to several of the same venues and a couple of new ones, and already got a commitment from Golden Isle Speedway for the Super Bowl in 2016 with the Lucas Oil Super Dirt Late Models.
Wow.
And so things are coming together right now. We're working on stuff for next year, and we just are excited and just very pleased about that, with the interest and the feedback that we've gotten up to this point.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen that are just tuning in to the Deep Dixie Racing Report, we appreciate you taking time to spend with us on Thursday evening. We're wrapping up a conversation with Mr. Ben Sumner. He is the promoter of the Southern Thunder Late Model Series. These guys are in their 2nd year of operation. They have established a lot of good history and a lot of good sponsorship has helped them out, and they always put on a real good show. If you'd like to see more of the Southern Thunder Late Model Series, tomorrow night, one of the biggest shows of the year down at Brunswick, Georgia, Golden Isle Speedway. They're going to be racing tomorrow night and Saturday. Of course, tomorrow night is primarily a preliminary type thing, qualifying heats and things like that. And there will be other racing as far as normal program down there. And then, of course, on Saturday of this weekend, all the money on the line. Not only is the Southern Thunder Late Model Series going to be running for $5,000, and Brian, I think he said $350 to start. Man, that is good tow money. Yeah. Win, lose, or draw, man. You're gonna take home some good money to help ease the pain of the gas pump and motel lodging and things like that. Guys, you're going to really want to be a part of this. I know it's going to be a good show. And Ben, we have a rare weekend off at Cochrane. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. I got to check with my wife, but I may even try to sneak down there and take in some of the racing. But, buddy, it's always good to talk with you. You've been a great friend and a great representative to our sport, and we really appreciate all that you do. And we hope the best for you in the series, not only this weekend, but on down the line, Ben.
Well, I appreciate that. And before I go, I do want to mention, the news by Johnny Truble. Man, he raced with us a long time in Cordell, that 66 in the late models, and Keith drove for him. Keith Edge drove for him a number of years with us there in Cordell, and my family and everybody just our thoughts and prayers go out to the family for their loss, and just followed a lot of him, and just over the years racing with us all, just enjoy being around him and having the opportunity to know him. And before our main event, after driver introductions, we are going to have a moment of silence for Johnny Triple, before we kick off with our 40-lap main event.
Nice, man. I know that means the world to his family, Ben, and we are actually going to be attending his service tomorrow down in McRae. Anybody that would like to go, it's Lowe Funeral Home, Lowe, you can Google it, or you can get on MapQuest or whatever, wherever you're at. The service will begin at 11 a.m. and there's going to be a wonderful tribute tomorrow. I'm told that there are already 10 race drivers that have committed to be in the funeral procession, and I know it would mean the world to Johnny's family, of course his wife Sandra, Karen, all the grandkids, and just a great group of people. And Ben, that was very, very nicely said, man, and a nice touch with the moment of silence at y'all's program on Saturday. But we sure do appreciate you joining us, man. And anytime that you want to come on to the show, you let us know. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of exciting news to look back on after this weekend's racing. God bless you, my friend. I hope you have a good evening.
Thank you. Y'all come see us and have a good night.
Thanks. You too, buddy. That's Mr. Ben Sumner. He is the promoter of the Southern Thunder Late Model Series that will be rolling into Golden Isle Speedway down in Brunswick, Georgia. Mr. Darrell Corson, the promoter down there. Darrell is a visionary. He's got a lot of great ideas. He's brought a lot of good things, not just dirt track racing, but monster trucks and things like that. A lot of exciting stuff happening down there on the coast, the Georgia coast. And this weekend, you'll have an opportunity to go down there and see a lot of good racing, man. Thanks again for tuning in to the Deep Dixie Racing Report. I'm your host, Pastor Todd Sharon, track announcer at Cochran Motor Speedway, joined by Brian Hester, my good buddy. He is our reporter, and Brian ain't afraid to put some miles under his feet, man. Brian was telling us that he went to Nebraska this past weekend. Now, I'm going to tell you, 2 weeks ago, yeah, he was in Nebraska out there watching some sprint car racing and some late model racing, and that's pretty cool. And, of course, we've got our good friend. He likes to be called the Destroyer, but I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable with that. The Destroyer, Dale Hall, he's the producer of the show, and he always does the heavy lifting, man. And, of course, our friends here at the Rescue Smokehouse Grill, if we can somehow pan out across there, they got a good crowd in here tonight, and there's a reason for that. The food is outstanding, man. I had a big plate of brisket. Doesn't matter if you pick a steak, a hamburger, they got pizza, whatever you pick. Plenty to eat, not only for the grown-ups, but for the kids. They're going to be open until 10 tonight. Raymond and Amy Poore and their staff here at the Rescue Smokehouse Grill, conveniently located just off of Interstate 75 on exit 75. Once you make that exit, Brian, you're home free. Yep. You're right here.
Can't miss the sign.
Can't miss the sign. I think it's an old, what is it, an old Stuckey's?
It
is.
Building is? Used to be a Stuckey's and a Dairy Queen.
Yeah, okay. And so they've got it really outfitted nice in here. Award-winning barbecue competition cooks, and they know how to get it done here. Prices are affordable, a great atmosphere. If you want to dress up, that's fine. If you want to come casual, that's fine too. Come on out and check them out.
Got a ribeye like this.
Oh, yeah, man. It is the real deal. I about can't do that before the show, man. It puts me in the weeds. But anyway, our thanks to Raymond and Amy. And, guys, you won't be disappointed, I promise you. Again, to Mike Hurd, our friends at 5-Star Hyundai, 650 Russell Parkway in Warner Robins, Georgia. Been a lot of help to a lot of racers. And they are the primary beginning sponsor of the Deep Dixie Racing Report. 5-Star Hyundai. If you're in the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle, the Hyundai brand has one of the strongest warranties in the entire auto industry. These guys, out of 869 dealerships nationwide, were number one in the country for service and sales. And I promise you, they're going to take care of you before, during, and after the sale. And that's not a pre-rehearsed speech. Those people are the real deal. They got banners all up and down that lane in the service department. Go check them out. Real easy to find. One of the main drags in Warner Robins, 650 Russell Parkway in Warner Robins. That's 5-Star Hyundai and our friend Mike Hurd. Also, Mr. Bill Cheek and our friends at Heartland EMS. We appreciate all that they do, man. What a wonderful group of people. Bill is not the kind of guy that likes to get out front, but Bill is an award-winning director. I'm telling you, man, this guy has a resume that is incredible. And the thing about it is most of the time you never know it. Bill's so laid back. But our friends at Heartland, they are the first responders down in our neck of the woods. They take real good care of us at the racetrack week in and week out, and also all of Middle Georgia. Brian, while we've got just a minute, in just a minute, I'd like to see if we can either get Carolyn or Leo on. and be able to talk a little bit about the All-Star Stock Car Series. Also going to be at Golden Isles this weekend, a part of that big show, 5,000 to win. But Brian, real quick, just since we have visited last, I know East Alabama got rained out Saturday night. We had a huge race at Cochran. Last I looked, 20% chance of rain.
Yep.
And next thing you know, man, we get flooded. I mean, absolutely flooded. So Mother Nature washed all that out. I think Sonoya got the run.
Yeah, well, they didn't get all the show in. They got half the late model show in, and that was it.
Okay.
So,
on that note, Brian, what can you tell us about that fiery crash? And I don't know, was that a pure stock car? Is that
yeah, pretty much a pure stock car, right? Blake, I think, in metric car. From what I understood, I'd been up there Friday night and was hanging out with Dustin Elliott and his family. And from what I understand, the car something either broke. I think he was leading the race, everything, and it just turned.
Yeah.
Just made a hard turn, and it hit. And I guess it either pirouetted the ground or what. But when it hit and come back down the track, it was instant. It was on fire.
Yeah. That is that I'll have to say that may be the worst fire I've ever seen in a race car, especially at a dirt track. I mean, maybe in NASCAR, but I've known some in the past. There was a man in Swainsboro back in the early 70s. Guy like his life with it, but that's what really kind of jumped up like that. And I raced and I'll admit, I don't know. At times, if the weather was cold, I might be wearing gloves. Summertime, no, I didn't. I came from a background where I raced go-karts my whole life, and we had to wear gloves and wear fire, but for purposes of getting your hands on the track. But I saw pictures of his face this week and his hands, and he won't have used his hands for a while. wow.
I mean, it's bad. It's real bad, and it really. I talked with several drivers, and they just like, I mean, I don't even know what Bobby done. I don't know how he worked, but I don't care what you do in life. You got to use your hands for everything.
Yeah, that's right.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary. And I'm gonna tell you, he was very fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
He was very fortunate. That thing hit more engulfed than what it was to go back and get there.
Yeah, that was an absolute frightening sight. I actually seen. I think on Deep Dixie Racing there was some video footage of it.
Yeah.
And then there were some still shots, and actually you were right. I watched the video, and Bobby was leading that race, and if I'm not mistaken, the race stayed green for quite a while, and he just kept extending his lead, and it got to the point that whoever was filming, they almost were not even following Bobby anymore because he was so far out front. And then suddenly, the camera pans hard to the right, and you can see the fire and the flame. But to Bobby's family, God bless all of you. And you know something else I want to say about that? It is very, very encouraging to me. We often talk about our family as our racing family as a family. Guys, that's true. That's not a cliche. If you could have seen the comments when news first came out about this, there was people from all over the country that was offering condolences, prayers, and that sort of thing. We bid Bobby Godspeed. We hope for a full and a quick recovery. And I could imagine. I heard second and third degree?
Second and third degree burns, and when you get to there, you're talking about deformation of limbs and stuff when you get to that. So.
Yeah. Well, just another reminder, guys. I know we get busy. I know everybody is hustling nowadays. You got to go longer, faster, harder to make it.
Yep.
And that usually ends up equating to less time at the track, and we're all rushing. But guys, please never, ever underestimate or neglect safety. I mean, I don't know the details of Bobby's crash. Everything could have been done just perfectly right. I don't know. But guys, this is a wake-up call for everyone. If you think you don't need it, that pretty much means that you do. And so
I've seen guys roll their sleeves up on their suits and stuff like that. Why wear it? If you're going to roll it up, why wear it?
Yeah.
Zip the suit down to here and your chest is all open.
Yeah.
Tie that thing up.
Yeah.
Tie that thing up.
Yeah. We want to make sure that everybody, you know, can be as safe.
On a weird note, and I posted this on Facebook Sunday. I was at Golden Isles for the Ultimate Series race. In the very first race on the track was Enduro. Guy running third or fourth, loses it, backs it into the wall, knocks the fuel cell, slam out the car. And it wasn't even a terrible, real bad thing, but it knocks the fuel cell out of the car. And I'm like, I don't think that's supposed to come out.
Yeah.
I don't think so. It's, you know, Blake's built some cars. I don't think that fuel cells are supposed to come out automatically like that, are they?
So they're not regular.
Yeah, so I'm like, take some time, build it right. If you can't build it right, get it to somebody. There's guys in every area that knows how to put a car together right, everywhere. So, you know, take time. Don't matter if you race this year, you got next year.
Yeah. One other thing real quick before we get Carolyn or Leo or both.
Let's go with this young man next.
Okay. All right. Brian, before you get out of here, we all heard the news. I actually saw a video clip. It was actually an audio clip of longtime NASCAR superstar Buddy Baker.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for those of you that have Sirius Radio or you've had the opportunity, Dale and I were talking, Buddy Baker had become almost like, you know, the local newscaster. You hear him every day.
Yeah.
And Buddy told of how his voice was getting a little weaker and he just wasn't able to project the power that he thought that he ought to have and that sort of thing. And a terrible pain in his chest. And Dale, do we still have that audio up on Deep Dixie? Dale, do we still have that audio up of Buddy Baker on Deep Dixie?
We do, yeah.
If you'll go to deepdixieracing.com, there is I think it's about a 6 or 7 minute clip there, and it's just the sound. There's no video. And I would encourage everybody to go and listen to that. And Buddy Baker pretty much gives you a play-by-play from start to finish, where he was feeling pain in his chest and his shoulder, and upon further investigation, of course, there was a tumor that was discovered. And one of the things that I took away from what he said, what an absolute great man of faith. I mean, to hear what Buddy said, he said, I'm not going to let this get me down no matter what happens. When I look back on my life, there's people all over that would have loved to trade places with me. And, you know, so our thoughts and prayers go out to the gentle giant, Buddy Baker, man. He was one of the men back in the day, and always loved hearing him on Sirius. And our thoughts and prayers are with him. So, Buddy, if you or somebody that knows you happens to tune in to this little show, man, we're pulling for you. Brian, I do appreciate all that you do, man. Thank you so much. And thank you for last Thursday getting down there, surviving the rain, and getting a lot of good interviews at Cochran. Sadly, the racing got washed out on the big night. But if you want to go back and listen to some interviews, Brian, Big Time Hester was down there getting it done.
Yeah, and to note that, it will be rerun on Labor Day weekend, right?
That's right, Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend, so it'll be a restart of what they already said, and then we're going to turn around and have another feature.
Right.
Okay.
It's going to be a Saturday and Sunday. We're going to finish up this July the 4th deal, and whatever's already been done and set, they're going to complete that, and then Sunday's going to be a start from scratch, brand new event. So it's actually going to be 2 gigantic events in one weekend. That'll be Labor Day. Again, our thanks to Brian Hester. Brian, we appreciate you, man. If you're just tuning in to the Deep Dixie Racing Report, thank you for taking time to spend with us. Our thanks to Mr. Ben Sumner, the promoter of the Southern Thunder the Southern Thunder Late Model Division. They're going to be racing down at Golden Isle Speedway this weekend. That show will begin tomorrow night, and then the big feature will be happening on Saturday. Make the short trip down to Brunswick, Georgia. Mr. Darrell Corson does a great job with that track. Go down there and check them out, as they will be hosting a huge show with the Southern Thunder late models, as well as the All-Star Stock Car Series. Going to be a huge weekend of racing, plus their normal racing. You can get to see some E-mods and Euros and things like that. Go check it out. It's going to be a real good time. All right, Cole, come on up here with us, buddy. Right now, We are privileged and honored. Cole, it's good to see you, my friend. Joined by what I would have to say right now, he is probably one of the hottest young dirt track racers anywhere. I don't care if we're talking about the Gulf Coast up on the northeastern part of the country or whatever. But Cole Exum, anything that you put him in, this young man is a proven winner. He has driven late models. He's won in those. He's driven sportsmen. He's won big in those. Just a few weeks ago, he jumps into a All-Star Stock Car Series race, goes on to lead wire to wire. And one night I was even down at Crossroads Motorplex in Jasper, Florida. I was announcing down there, giving the lineup. All of a sudden, I look up. There's my buddy Cole Exum driving a go-kart, man. Cole, it's good to see you, buddy. And, man, we thank you for coming out and joining us. And I noticed you got a beautiful young lady with you. Who is this?
Tara, this is my girlfriend. We've been together for a little over 2 years. So she's been right by my side every day. So
Tara, it's nice to meet you. Thank you for coming to be with us. Cole, let's jump right in here, man. I know that the lion's share of the racing that I saw you do probably over the last 2 years was in that 01 Napa car in the sportsman division. And you guys, at least it was for me, one of the first time I saw you in a late model. And you come to our place in Cochran. You did really, really good in qualifying. And you won a big race down there. If I'm not mistaken, I believe you won the Southern Thunder race that Ben Sumner in. Is that right?
I ran second.
We're second, okay.
Will won that one, and I ran second.
Okay, I got you. Thanks for correcting me. But this past weekend, $10,000 on the line at Cochran. And where did you end up in qualifying on that one, Cole?
We ended up qualifying ninth. We got me and Daddy. It was just us and my car owner that weekend, and it was just a hectic weekend anyways. And we got in a bad rush, getting ready for qualifying and trying to get everything right. And, we kind of made the wrong choice on tires and had a little too much stagger and slid around the track a little bit. It got a little slicker than we were expecting.
Right.
I think we ended up either eighth or not, but went out for the dash, and I didn't want to risk tearing anything up, so I just fell all the way back, and the car felt really, really good. And we looked on race monitor, and I was either second or third fastest in the dash, so I feel like we made a lot of gains, and the car was going to be really good. Yeah. I was very upset it rained out.
Yeah, I know, man. What a surprise. It was 20% chance of rain, and sadly, I was actually indoors doing Will Thompson's funeral. And when I came out, man, it's like everybody's saying the race has been called. I'm like, what? But anyway, we're going to make that up on Labor Day weekend. If you're just tuning in to the Deep Dixie Racing Report, I'm joined live here at Rescue Smokehouse Grill by the driver of the 01 car, Mr. Cole Exum. Cole, tell us about that win in the All-Star Stock Car Series. These guys take that serious. I mean, these guys are all in that division. We've had Kyle Livingood, we have Michael Davis. We've talked to several more people that run in that division. And you guys bring a Camaro out there. By the way, that was one of the coolest bodies I've ever seen. That looked like one of those throwback Camaros, man, from back in the day. Is that something that you guys just decided to hit these big races, or did you always have a pure stock car or hobby stock?
Well, I started out in the late model, and it was just us trying to do it, didn't have any sponsors, and the funds wasn't letting us do what we actually wanted to do. So we stepped down and started fresh and ran the hobby and the Super Street for about a half a season, and then we started moving back up to limited and started doing that. And we were actually at the beginning of the year in Lake City in North Florida, the very first All-Star race, and I was racing my limited car. And Carl Moore was there, the guy that I was driving for, and I was just joking with him. Like, hey, man, you should let me drive your car. He told me to jump in it, let me race it. So
how about that? That's confidence.
I think there was 40 or 50 cars that first race, and we qualified fifth, which I was shocked, never being in that car or anything, and was running fourth about halfway in most of the transmission, so I didn't get to finish that one. And then we didn't really pursue it to think we were going to actually do it. And then whenever the Cochran race came up, we were already up there, and Carl came over there after the hot laps, and he's like, hey, I'm supposed to be driving tonight, but I don't really want to. You want to drive it? And I was like, sure. So I went out and qualified. We qualified in the top 10 the first night, and then he finished 7th. And then after that, he was ready for us to run it again.
Yeah.
The thing about those cars is they're so fun to drive. I mean, the late model, if you barely touch somebody, you'll tear stuff up. And those cars, you have a little more room to rub and do a little harder racing. And my dad's the guy behind the scenes. He's not many people get to see him, but the work he puts into my race cars is unbelievable. He runs a business, so when he gets done doing that, he works full time on my race car, and we try and do the best we can to get a good piece. And he grew up racing the hobby cars. That's what he did. So that's really his favorite class. He likes late models, but the hobby cars, he loves the hobby cars. So to be able to go out there and win that race, and it being Father's Day too, and it being for him, it was a really special one. I think he might have been more nervous for that class than he was the late model.
I hear you, man. And the race that we're talking about, if you're just tuning in, that was back in Cochran on the last All-Star Stock Car Series. Carolyn Leo Johnson, that's their series, and Cole kind of came in there, and I remember emphatically that night, for whatever reason, man, there was just a lot of cautions, and there was just a lot of restarts. But I could see, man, you had Michael Davis, and I think it was Bud Chansey that was there, and I think Michael got by him on the last lap to get second. But it really looked like, to me, from where I was sitting doing the announcing, I try to look at that stuff, and I try to look at it from all different angles and a different perspective. It never really looked like to me that you had to really push that car, man. If anybody even got remotely close, man, you were gone. What does it feel like to be in a car that is that dialed in?
It's almost a feeling you can't really explain, because my dad, he always goes to the infield for the features. And he'll kind of, give me a hand signal and let me know they ride on me, or not necessarily so I can block them or anything, just so if I got to push it, I can push it. If I don't have to push it, then he tells me. And we'd have a caution, and we'd run about 2 laps, and I'm pushing it hard, and he'd tell me that I had a nice distance, and I'm just like, man, this is nice. This feels good. But I'll tell you, those guys in that class, there were a lot of cautions, and if you noticed, a lot of them was, towards the back of the pack. But, man, there's probably 8 or 9 of those guys that are just top-notch drivers.
Absolutely.
Just because they might be in the hobby class, those guys, I mean, they're every bit of some of the best racers around.
Right on, man. I agree. If you're just tuning in, we're joined in the Rescue Smokehouse Grill by Cole Exum, and Cole has had great success. And Cole, just a little bit the other side of your life. First of all, tell us how old you are, and away from the racetrack, give us a sneak peek into the life of Cole Exum.
I'm 21. I'll be 22 August 26th. And my life mainly consists of working. My dad, he owns Tractor Tank Septic Service. We pump septic tanks, and I work with him. And usually we'll go to work, and we'll come back, get to the shop, and we'll fiddle with the race car and hang out at the shop. And we're not doing that. I'm with my girlfriend. She's with me all the time, so she'll probably be the one for a good long time, hopefully.
Awesome.
And,
all right, cool.
If
you need a preacher, let me know.
That's right. I sure will. And I have 2 little nephews, one that's 2 and one that's 7, about to be 8, or 8, about to be 9. Sorry, Connor. And those 2 little boys are my world. And between racing and family and girlfriend, it's just simple life.
Yeah, not much time left in the day. Now, I know that you just clearly told us that the hobby stock you were driving, that belongs to Mr. Moore, but you guys actually own your Sportsman and late model, is that right?
John Dennis Weatherington, he owns Napa Auto Parts in Valdosta and Thomasville and Hayhire. He owns all of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he called me. We actually, when you seen us racing, when we were racing the go-karts was 2 years ago, I believe, and we had a limited that we were running, and we were very successful in it, but like I said, it's very expensive to race, especially on family-owned trying to do it. And we finally just stepped down and went racing go-karts again and was having fun doing that. And John Dennis called us one weekend and asked us if we wanted to come drive the car, and we did. And ever since then, we've been wide open with him.
I hear you, man.
This year we decided, we talked about it for a while, and we finally decided to go ahead and make a leap and jump in a late model. And I'm very, very happy that we made that choice. And going with the GRT, Jason Fitzgerald, he's helped us with it. And I couldn't ask for a better car. We're still learning a little bit on it. There's still some more here and there that we're trying to get, but overall, it's been a blast, a blessing in disguise that I've had all these opportunities.
Yeah, and guys, I tell you, on top of being a first-class race driver, I think you can tell just by listening to Cole talk, man. A great young man that has been raised right. I mean, you can tell by listening to him. And I mean, if you ever get a chance to see him race, I'm telling you, it is something that you'll really enjoy. He's not afraid to take that car and run it, whatever he's got to do, and that's always cool to see. Now, Cole, I know last week we were rained out at Cochran, and then this week we had already had a scheduled weekend off, and that's been from the beginning of the year. Are you guys going to be running anywhere this weekend?
We're going to Golden Isles this weekend. We're going to run the All-Star Series and the Southern Thunder Series. I'm actually second in the points in the Southern Thunder Series.
Cool.
It's right now it's between me, Kit Seeley, and Travis Carter, and I think I'm 6 or 7 points behind Kit. We were leading going into the last race, and I was running second, battling for the lead at Needmore and broke the camshaft. So that hurt us a little bit, but hopefully we can bounce back and keep up the good finishes and just stay consistent. That's all. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah.
And be competitive.
That's awesome, man. And right now, when you look at the late model division, there is so much parity. There's so much competition. And, there is really, truly a changing of the guards. We still got some veterans that get out there and get the job done. I mean, you've got guys that have been in race cars for a long, long time. I think of Keith Edge. I think of the Faircloth brothers. I think of Skip Pennell, who was with us. The list goes on and on and on. But there has definitely been a mix-up in the late model ranks when you bring yourself and Will Harrington, Pearson Lee Williams, a part of the mix, Blake Smith, Chaz Haskins. I mean, these guys all probably within just a few years of each other in age, and just an incredible, incredible sight to see these guys get out there and turn it loose. And Cole, we really appreciate you being here with us tonight. And you're welcome to stay, man. Maybe if you guys have got some time, if you got to leave, we understand. But we're gonna be checking in with a few more people. We're probably gonna take a break here in just a moment. But before we conclude this segment, I know that you mentioned Mr. Dennis and the Napa dealerships and things like that. I know there's other people that help you out, your dad and so forth. Give us a rundown of your sponsors and the people that help you.
Napa Auto Parts and John Dennis, they stepped up and gave me, it's been a dream come true. I couldn't ask for any more. And Napa Auto Parts, they gave me a ton. I'm truly thankful for everything he's done for me. And Green Flag Automotive, Jay Patrick, he builds my engines, and he's another sponsor. He helps us out with the engine. And the engine's awesome. It's only let me down once in about 3 years, so it's been a very good one. And my mom and my dad for everything they do for me, and for all the support. My dad for always giving me a good car. It don't matter if we run first or last. Either way, it's always a good, safe car. And I can't ask for anything else. And my sisters for all their support. My girlfriend for always coming. She never misses her race. And Marty, Lance, Bubba, all the guys back at the shop will come and help us. And Jason Fitzgerald, GRT, all those guys. And car's awesome. And the man above for always keeping me safe and for all the opportunities he's blessed me with. And before I go, I see on the paper, I didn't really know Johnny Tribble very good. I've heard of him, and I remember racing with him once at Cochran. And from the stuff that I heard you saying about him this weekend, I'm praying for his family. And it's really upset. I did know Will. I didn't know him very good, but I raced against him quite a bit. It just goes to show you how short life can be, and we got to live every moment to the fullest.
You're right, man. You are absolutely right. And matter of fact, Cole, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hopefully be able to get a hold of of some of Johnny's family, and I know that really makes me feel good, man, to hear you say that. And Will Thompson, man, a great guy, and Johnny, I knew both of those guys. I've known them for a long time, and just two major losses to our sport. But we are grateful that we have a family that sticks close together, and I know that those people will get all the support that they need and have got it and will continue to do it. But man, thanks. Another outstanding job, folks. Mr. Cole Exum, driver of the 01 car. And he has several cars that he races, the All-Star Stock Car Series. Now, did you say you're going to be running both of those this weekend?
Yes, sir.
Going to be doing double duty, man. That would be a huge payday, man, to come back with 10 G's. Yes, Dale.
He and one other person I know of are doing that this weekend.
Who's the other?
Cecil Eunice.
Cecil Eunice.
He's in good company.
Yeah, Mr. Cecil, man, he is another veteran that gets it done. But there is a possibility. I don't know if there's any bonuses and things like that, but realistically, man, you could win $10,000 this weekend. That would be pretty sweet.
It would make up for this past weekend.
I hear you, man. All right, folks, Mr. Cole Exum, and he's going to hang around with us, and we appreciate him and his girlfriend Tara for coming to be with us. Nice to meet you. It's been a great first hour, man. We got a lot done. Was able to touch on a lot of things. We're going to take a short time out. When we come back, we're going to get some family members of Mr. Johnny Tribble. We're going to spend some time talking with them. Hopefully, we'll be able to get a hold of Carolyn and Leo Johnson, one or the other, or both, give us an update on the All-Star Stock Car Series. It's going to be a part of that huge weekend of racing down at Golden Isle Speedway. And the promoter down there that we have got to be pretty familiar with and good friends with, Mr. Darrell Corson, a visionary down there, has been a huge part of the Super Bowl that comes down there every year to kick things off. He's done a great job. Hopefully, toward the end of the show, we're going to be able to visit with Darrell a little bit. He's actually doing some radio spots right now as we're speaking, trying to promote the race, and he asked if maybe we could put him toward the end, so we're hopefully going to do that. Don't forget, the Rescue Smokehouse Grill. Guys, you still got pretty much 2 hours to come down here and grab you something good to eat. Very, very easy to find. Very, very conveniently located off of Exit 75. On Interstate 75 right here in beautiful Inaha, Georgia. And guys, you don't have to dress up unless you want to. If you want to just come after work, bring the kids, come on out. Outstanding menu, affordable prices, and they give you plenty to eat. Raymond and Amy Poor and their staff do a great job. Still got plenty of time to come on down here, grab you something good to eat. Another thank you to Mike Hurd and our friends at 5-Star Honda in Warner Robins. Also, Mr. Bill Cheek and our friends at Heartland EMS down in Cochran, Georgia. All right, hour number 1 in the books. We're going to take a short time out. We're going to be back for hour number 2, where we'll be talking to some family members of the legend, the driver of the 66 car, Mr. Johnny Tribble. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, folks, thank you for joining us on the Deep Dixie Racing Report, coming to you live from the Rescue Smokehouse Grill down here on Exit 75 in beautiful Inaha, Georgia, right off of Interstate 75. We got a lot of people traveling. Matter of fact, I met a family earlier tonight that are traveling from up around the Chicago area. They actually saw Raymond and Amy Poor's barbecue competition cook-off on one of the TV channels. I think it's Destination America, something like that. But these folks are award-winning barbecue cooks, man. They serve some good food. Prices are very affordable, and they give you plenty to eat. They're going to be open until 10 o'clock tonight. If you've not had supper, I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Head on down. You got plenty of time to get some good food. Our thanks to Mr. Ben Sumner, who joined us by telephone talking to us about the big show coming up with the Southern Thunder Late Model Series going into Brunswick, Georgia at Golden Isle Speedway. We appreciate them talking to us. Also, my good buddy Brian Hester helping to open up the show. We're recapping a few things and talking about some very sad events. And, of course, my good friend Cole Exum agreed to stay on with us a little bit later on. We appreciate he and his girlfriend Tara coming down to be with us tonight. And we are now moving into hour number 2. And we are joined on the line right now by some family members of the driver of the 66 car. Sadly, we lost him just a few days ago. They called him the legend. And we're talking about Johnny Tribble. And we're on the line right now with Johnny's granddaughter, Anitra. Anitra, Pastor Todd Sharon, Deep Dixie Racing Report. How are you, sis?
We're doing pretty good, Pastor Todd. We're hanging in there.
I hear you, girl. Listen, I cannot even begin to tell you how many people have just told me to pass on to the family how much they're praying for you and your family and everybody that has been affected by the loss of Johnny. And Johnny was so beloved and so well respected by everyone in the racing community. And, you know, his racing career went much farther and went much deeper and was more far reaching than I think a lot of us even realized. But Nidra, I think of every time that I saw Johnny Tribble race, there was always a constant. You always had his helmet and you were always very close to him. I don't remember you ever missing a race. I'm sure there probably was times along the way, but you were probably Johnny Tribble's biggest fan. Kind of give us your thoughts on how you and your family are feeling and what's happening with y'all.
Well, Pastor Todd, you're right. I've been going to the races with G Daddy, as we called him, since I was 11 years old, and I'm 26 now, so 15 years. I would always get his helmet and his race fever or whatever he needed ready, and put him in the car and strap him in, tell him he loved him and good luck, and he always knew whether he finished first or last, and his family and his friends were always going to be proud of him. We're having good and bad moments. We're relieved and happy to know he's not suffering and he's in a much better place than we are. But we're sad because he's not here and we can't, we can't physically have him here with us anymore. But we know that he's much better off and he's up in heaven racing with Jesus now.
Yeah, very well said. If you're just tuning in to the Deep Dixie Racing Report, we are joined on the line right now by Miss Anitra Yawn. This is Johnny Tribble's granddaughter. And many of you probably remember seeing Johnny race at Cole. I know you said that you didn't know him real well, but you had an opportunity to race with him at one time. And,
I actually want to touch on something that she said. She said that whether Johnny finished first or he finished last, they were always proud of him. A lot of people don't realize how much that means to a driver.
Yes.
Not thinking that you have to go out there and win every single race for them, thinking that you're this or you're that. They're proud of you no matter what. And that it helps us a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said. And Nidra, I know that that a lot of people's thoughts and our prayers and our hearts go out to Sandra. And for those of you that may not have known Johnny well, I think Anitra was telling me that Johnny and Sandra had been together since she was 17 years old. And, of course, you've got the rest of the family. You've got Karen, and there's some grandkids there. Nidra, how is Sandra and the rest of the family? How are they holding up?
She seems to be holding up pretty good. I don't know if it just hasn't hit her yet, or she just knows that he's in a better place, so she has a peace about it. I know when she goes on from day-to-day life after this all is settled, you know, it'll be harder on her, you know, having to go on day-to-day without him because they were always together. But if he taught us anything, he taught us to be strong, and I know she'll be strong because he always taught her that. And I know she's going to miss him, we all are, but she seems to be holding up pretty good. She really does.
Nidra, how did Johnny get the nickname, the Legend? I was thinking about that the other day. I wish that somewhere along the line I would have asked him that. But how did he get that nickname?
Well, I really don't know the backstory to that. But I can tell you what I think he got the name Legend. Johnny has probably now over 1,000 career wins to his name. He won the point championship at Concord Motor Speedway in 2001. And then he also he won the point championship 2003, 2004, and 2005. And he was the only driver ever in the history of Concord Motor Speedway to do that. Nobody else ever did. And he's been racing for 20-something years. And the thing about Johnny was he didn't win every race, but he was always consistent. So I would say he's probably legendary because he was always there. You could always count him as a player in the game, so to speak.
Yeah, you're right. And a lot of people may not know this. Johnny's livelihood, Johnny was a logger. And I remember years ago, early on, you would see triple logging on the side of the car. And Nidra, there was some comments made earlier. As a matter of fact, Brian Hester, part of our team here, Brian was talking about Johnny. Johnny, one of the most generous people, helping people out. I know that he has funded his own racing, and he's helped fund other people's racing along the way. I know that there are a couple people that are probably, I would guess, probably closer to Johnny than most everybody else was. And one of them is David Poole, the driver of the 00 car, and the other one, he's actually our reigning late model points champion, Keith Edge. And Nidra, have you had an opportunity to speak with those gentlemen?
Yes, sir. I saw them both tonight, and I spoke with them both this week, and they both have been emotional, and you know, but they both also been strong, and they're trying to do what they think Johnny would want them to do as far as his services and remembering his name and giving him respect. But they're both taking it pretty hard. Johnny was one of their best friends, and Johnny was always the type. I remember one night he gave one guy from out of town a radiator with his radiator button just so the guy could race him because they were starting on pole side by side. He wanted going to have a fair chance to win.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
He'd give you the shirt off his back and anything.
Yeah. You know, Nidra, one thing that I remember about Johnny and Cole, I know that you had an opportunity to know Johnny and even race with him once, I think you said. But we've known Johnny for a long time, and I remember well before Johnny's sickness and illness came about that Johnny Tribble was almost unbeatable. And one thing that I remember about Johnny, I've seen Johnny in pretty much every racing scenario you could get. There's been times that Johnny has been ran over. There's been times that Johnny's been spun out. There's been times that Johnny has definitely got the short end of the stick. And I mean, it was just obvious. And there was other times that Johnny had a great success. And there was probably times Johnny spun people out and things like that. But never, ever did I ever see Johnny Tribble act out of line. Never one time. I mean, I remember one night that Johnny's car was tore all to pieces. And there was people that was really trying to step up on Johnny's behalf. I mean, they were ready to go, man. It was just that bad. And I remember Johnny being a peacemaker. And Nidra, one of the things that I want to say to you and the rest of his family, Johnny Tribble may have been the legend. He may have been an outstanding, incredible race driver, and he was both of those. But more than that, to me, I will remember Johnny Tribble as a gentleman.
Yes, sir. He was definitely that. He was always the calm, cool collector. When I said I think he left the getting mad and getting aggravated to his girls, as he always called us, because he always knew if anybody ever messed with him, his girls had his back. But you're right. He was one I was talking to Wesley Robertson yesterday that dropped the 49 late model, and Wesley said, you know, everybody liked Johnny. There wasn't anything about him you couldn't like. He gave you the shirt off his back. He raced you clean. He wanted to help, and he wanted to have fun, and he was there to race.
Mm-hmm.
But he was there, too, to always have his friends back. And he's not one, he was like that off the track as well. He wasn't one to easily get angered, or, you know, he was Johnny, and everybody loved him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're just tuning in to the Deep Dixie Racing Report, first of all, we appreciate you taking time out to join us. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been here at the Rescue Smokehouse Grill. We had some terrible weather one night. We were planning on taking the show on the road. That didn't work out, and there was some interviews done, I think, last week, and I will say thanks to Brian Hester for doing that. Dale Hall was there also, and then, of course, Cole Exum is joining me here live at the restaurant. We're talking about the late Johnny Tribble. He passed away just a few days ago, and we're on the line with his granddaughter, Anitra Yawn, right now. Nitra, there are a lot of people I know that knew Johnny, and his racing touched so many people. And I know that there are a lot of people that probably are just finding out about this, maybe even by this show. And, of course, our hearts are all heavy. Johnny was a great friend to me, and I cannot tell you the times. And, Cole, I know you being a young driver, this is what I know really makes a difference to people. There was times that there were small children that would have never, ever had a chance to even get near Johnny because they weren't in the pits or anything. And me working at the track and happening to be blessed enough to know some of the drivers and things, there was times that Johnny would walk through the mud and walk through the muck. I mean, they were busy thrashing on the car just to go over to the fence and sign an autograph and talk to a child or something like that. And, you know, Nidra, I know that there's hundreds of stories like that, but me being a pastor, one of the things that I thank God for, the racing family has really accepted me, and they welcomed me in. And I'll tell you, one of my biggest supporters from day one was Johnny Tribble. He was just such a peacemaker. Johnny was such a leader. He was not a weak man. He was not a frail, scared man. Johnny had this quiet strength that he didn't have to hoop and holler. You know, he just carried that.
Well, you know, it's not necessarily as though we welcomed you in. You know, you're already like family to us at the racetrack anyways, and it's not, you know, you brought the announcing side to the racetrack, and your announcing is phenomenal. Probably some of the best I've ever seen, but not only are you there announcing the racetrack, you bring the Lord to the track with you. And the way that you pray for us before we have our drivers meetings, before we go out after the national anthem and all that, you know, you've really brought the Lord to the racetrack to Cochran more than any racetrack I've ever been to. And if anybody deserves praise at the racetrack, it's him the most. And you've brought that more than any racetrack I've ever been to.
Man, I appreciate that, Cole. That is so nice. And, you know, Johnny was the kind of guy that Johnny would tell me stuff like that too. And, you know, Nidra, we could go on and on and on, but I think that it suffices to say that Johnny Tribble was a hero. And I know that when I heard Johnny died, it literally brought tears to my eyes. The same thing happened when Will Thompson died. All I could do was weep, man, because I knew that Johnny Tribble was one of a kind. And,
when you were talking about it at the drivers' meeting this past weekend, we could all tell, you know, that it was really touching. You know, it's Nidra, right?
Yeah.
Nidra, this is Cole Exum, and just want to let you know all of us at Napa Auto Parts, Motorsports, and we're all praying for you guys, and we hope that y'all can figure out a way to get through this and stay strong. And if there's anything you guys need that we can help with, just let us know. You can get with me on Facebook or anything like that. And if y'all come to the racetrack, and we're supposed to get some T-shirts made, hopefully, and maybe we can get you guys some T-shirts and y'all can come enjoy the races with us one weekend.
We appreciate that, Cole, and I'd like to reiterate what you said, about Pastor Todd. He has brought the Lord to the racetrack, and I do feel like if Johnny could say anything right now, he would say that of all the races he's ever won, championship, the biggest race he ever won, he won on July the 7th whenever he went home to be with the Lord.
Amen.
And if he could say it right now, I I know he would always say that everybody needs to have their heart right with the Lord, because at the end of the day, the races here on this earth don't matter. It's where you go when you leave here.
You're right. You got it. You got it.
We appreciate everybody's prayers and support. And you're right. He wasn't a hero. He was not a hero.
I know.
And, you know, there's a lot of things in this world that you can do, and, you know, everybody, you know, has a nickname, and new drivers come along, you know, younger, and, you know, like Cole, you know, and make a name for themselves. But I know one thing, there will never, ever be another legend as far as that goes in dirt track racing, and there will never, ever be another G-Daddy.
Yeah, you're right.
I'll say something about that. From just the things that I've heard people say about Johnny and everything, that I hope whenever I get to his age and it's time for me to go, that people say half the things that they've said about that man. I will say that. All I've heard is good things about Johnny.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, Pastor Todd. The family wanted me to let everybody know that tomorrow at the funeral, we will be leaving the funeral home escorted by Johnny's 66 Sportsman car, along with any other driver that would like to come and pay their respects in that way. They can bring their cars to David Pool Shop at 10 o'clock in the morning and unload them and be put in the procession on to take Johnny to his final racing place.
Yeah. That is such an awesome touch, Nidra. And, you know, for those of you that are just tuning in to the show, and I have people tell me often that sometimes they're at work, they don't have access to their phone or to a computer, and so they just have to kind of pop in when they can. Thank you for joining us. Of course, we're in the second hour of our show, and we're on the line with Miss Anidra Yawn, and Anidra is Johnny Tribble's granddaughter. There's some other family members there with them, and we're talking about the life of Johnny Tribble. And tonight was the visitation for Johnny, and I know there was a ton of people there. And tomorrow, as Nidra just said, there's going to be a great tribute to a great man. There's going to be a tribute in a way that most people probably will never get. They're going to lead the funeral procession with Johnny's number 66 Sportsman car, and that number synonymous with Johnny Tribble. I think Will Harrington's actually going to be driving it, and I've been told that there may be as many as 10 drivers that's going to get in the procession. But guys, anybody that's watching right now, or maybe you are a family or a friend of a driver, anybody that would like to be a part of this, guys, the more the merrier. And as she said, you can come to David Pool Shop, which is probably the closest to where the service is going to be held at about 10 o'clock. They're going to be unloading right there, and you'll just be able to follow the group. It'll be very easy, very laid out for you. So, Nidra, real quick, before we let you get out of here, give us the rundown, the pertinent information about the service tomorrow, where it's at, what time, and so forth.
The service is at the Lotus Funeral Home Chapel in Helena, and the address is 308th Street in Helena. It's at 11 o'clock, and we'll go from there to the Helena Cemetery to bury him with his other members of his family that have passed on him. And if anybody wants to bring their race car and ride the processional, we'll be at David Pool Shop, which is right up the road from the funeral home. You won't be able to miss it. You'll see all the cars out there. And you can unload your car, and the police escort will bring the cars to the funeral home and line them up. And then they're going to block off the road and take the processional on to the gravesite.
Anidra, how far is the actual grave site from the funeral home? Do you know?
Maybe a couple miles, if that.
Okay.
It's right down the road.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, I'll tell you, one of the biggest honors for me as a pastor. It's heartbreaking, and I spend a lot of time crying. I mean, I like to cut up and that, and I'm not uptight by nature. But this kind of stuff, man, it rips my heart out. One of the greatest honors that I've ever had in my ministry, and I've had the opportunity to be with the governor, the mayor, and that sort of thing, and to God be the glory, was able to speak at Will Thompson's funeral. That was less than a week ago, Cole. And then Johnny's family has asked me to speak at his service tomorrow. So I'd ask for y'all's prayers. Man, I love Johnny. I love that family, and I have seen that man literally at death's door several times over the years, and he's rallied back so many times. And you know what? Every single time that Johnny did that, he touched other people's lives, and it gave him another opportunity to share love and share the gospel of Jesus Christ. But Nidra, I want to thank you so much. I know that your heart is heavy. I know you're tired. Y'all got a lot going on. And for you and the folks that are there with you to carve out some time for us in such an evening like this, it means the world to us. And I know that the people that are tuned in, it means the world to them. We want you to know that we're with you. We mean that. If there's anything we can do, please let us know. We're praying for you. We're crying for you. And we are going to show up in force tomorrow with God's help. And we are going to honor, remember, and celebrate a great man, the legend, the driver of the 66 car, Mr. Johnny Tribble. Anidra, thank you for your time, sweetheart.
Thank y'all. We appreciate y'all so much, and thank you for giving me the honor to let me talk about my G-Daddy for a little while.
Very good. God bless you, and our best to your family, sis.
Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
That is Miss Anidra Young, Johnny Tribble's granddaughter. Of course, you could tell heaviness. You can't help but to feel that in moments like this. But again, I like what she says. You know, I know my place at the racetrack. I'm there to be an announcer, and I don't try to do more than that. But you know, we share the gospel of Jesus Christ where we can, and I can tell you, Johnny Tribble, he was not ashamed of his Lord and Savior. So, man, our best to his family. I think now we're trying to see if we can get a hold of Mr. Leo Johnson with the All-Star Stock Car Series. Man with the plan.
He may be out of power. He told me a while ago that he was running
Okay.
Oh, I'm sure either him or Carolyn's on Facebook. They're saying that Carolyn answered the phone.
And we've been having some crazy weather, man, in Georgia. I mean, we've had stuff pop up. I'm talking about like the sun shining, and 5 minutes later, we got limbs down in the road.
That's how it was at the racetrack last weekend. It was a beautiful day, and all of a sudden, my car owner texted me and said, "It's about to get bad. Cover the car up." The sun went from shining to just.
You're right, man.
There he is.
All right, I think we got him now. Let's see if we got him before we. Leo, is that you, buddy?
That's me. What's going on?
Hey, brother Leo. This is Pastor Todd. I'm with Cole Exum. Brian Hester's here. Blake Martin is here, and Dale Dirt Cheap Hall is behind the scenes. Anyway, how you doing, Leo?
You must know them.
Hey, man, we know you've been real busy, Leo, but we know that you've also got a huge race coming up at Golden Isles. Things are going to kick off tomorrow night, and then for the big race on Saturday for all the marbles. Tell us what's happening as far as your part of the program with the All-Star Stock Car Series.
Friday night, we're going to qualify. Nobody's going to be locked in. Everybody's going to have to run a heat race, 10-lap heat races. Probably looking anywhere from around, we're hoping in between 40 and 60 cars. It's kind of, this time of year, it's kind of up on car count. Everybody's not really going to work on the cars, not really going to race in the heat. But I think I can get a pretty good car count for considering what time of year it is. But, and Saturday, consolation race, and features, or feature 50 lap, feature 5,000.
I might have to hit the gym since we have to run heat races.
Hey, if you're just tuning in on the Deep Dixie Racing Report, we are joined on the line by the promoter of the All-Star Stock Car Series. He, along with his wife, Carolyn, they promote that series, and they are going to be down in Golden Isle Speedway, Mr. Leo Johnson. And Leo, hold on a second. Dale's trying to ask me something.
I want a clarification on it. How many cars did they say?
All right, Leo, Dale's wondering how many cars did you say?
Anywhere, we're hoping between 40 and 50. I know that's a lot.
Okay.
We get, you got people to come in, and right now I've got about 50 submits to say they are, but they're all about their show.
I hope y'all have a great show, but on my end, I kind of hope about 4 stars. I'm just kidding.
So you've got 62 verbal commitments, Leo. Is that right?
Yeah, that's how been told this coming, but I'm always promoter. I know a lot of stuff's gonna happen in there.
Yeah.
Some of them just, gonna say, I'm not gonna go, or, you're gonna get that. But yeah, I basically got 6 people that said that they said that they're interested in coming. So, so I'm not gonna lie, I don't think we're gonna have that. We may have more of that. You never know, but that's how many I've talked to that said that, hey, they want to come win $5,000. So, what we're working with there.
From what I've seen on Facebook, Leo, it seems like y'all are going to have a lot of cars. I've seen a lot of people on there saying that they're coming. And do you know what the race lineup's going to be for Friday and Saturday? Like, are we going to have a class or two in between the late models and the hobby cars?
From what I've seen, qualifying, we're going to qualify back to back with all the cars. I don't think that's going to hurt you too much.
No, that's fine.
Heat races, Cecil's going to do the same thing. He did the same thing last year, and we had to kind of wait on him. So, it's going to be what it is. They have to wait.
In Cochran, they were back to back, and it didn't really bother me that much. But I was just wondering, since we were a little ahead of time this time, if y'all were doing. I didn't know if y'all were going to put a class in between, running 50 laps. I'm sure Cecil's saying the same thing: 50 laps and go run 40 laps. And hats off to Cecil Eunice. That man.
That's incredible, isn't
I
it?
hope that whenever I'm his age, I can still go like he can.
How old is Mr. Cecil? Really?
If I had to guess, I'd say mid-60s.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess there.
Yeah.
When I was little.
Yeah.
That man, he's.
And he'll show up with 2 or 3 cars, man. I mean, and it's competitive. I mean, he's not out there just making laps. Mr. Cecil Eunice is the man. Guys, if you were just tuning into the Deep Dixie Racing Report, of course, your host, Pastor Todd Sharon, track announcer at Cochran Motor Speedway, joined by Cole Exum, been kind enough to hang in here with us. And we're on the line right now with the promoter of the All-Star Stock Car Series, Mr. Leo Johnson. And Leo, this is going to be, now at the end of the year, kind of clarify this to me. Am I thinking right and hearing right? There's a $10,000 race at the end of the year. So this will be, other than that race, the biggest show of the entire year, right?
Yeah, it'll be probably, to be kind of hard, probably the biggest show is probably. I'd seriously say, I don't know anybody else paying that kind of money. I'm getting calls from Texas, Louisiana, Tennessee, North Carolina. We got guys coming from North Carolina, sure, Sweetstone, North Carolina. So, it's majority something local, but you're going to have hot shoes from all over the Southeast coming in. And the 10,000 race, last year we had some guys that were calling from Canada and Michigan, and they were just kind of scared because I put out there, that you're not right, you don't race. I'm scared some people away that if they pull that car or not guaranteed to race. That hurts us a little bit, but it does help with local car count. We've had up to 51 cars and $1,600 in. I think a lot of that's got to do with the guys though when they come race, when the race begins. It's not a surprise. But yeah, 10,000 years. That's I talked with Daryl last night. Daryl's got some other things in the works for this. We're going to talk about the decision, I think. That's going to be bigger. It looks like. I don't know what he has in mind. He's telling me he has some bigger things in mind. Look for that to be very what it is.
Yeah, man. That's incredible. And, Leo, we've talked about this before. We've got multiple late model series, touring series. I mean, from the national, the big guys, the World of Outlaws, the Lucas guys, and the like. But as far as a hobby stock series, I have never heard of one. And putting up this kind of money, Leo, I know that you were really going out on a limb. You had a great idea and a great theory. But until you actually got out there to where you was really, in the thick of it, you wasn't sure if it was going to work. I know that you got to have some sponsorship to help out with things like that. Give us an idea of how you came up with this. I asked Ben Sumner the same question. This was a leap of faith, to say the least. And once you got into it and saw that it was gaining some traction and people liked it, was buying into it, then you guys have really taken it to the next level. Tell us how it all came about and how you got to the point you are now.
Yeah, you know, I raced 15 years late model. I just got too expensive, so I quit. Still wanted to have something to do with racing, so me and Dale and Carolyn got into Dale, got into Deep Dixie and started video, and we pretty much started videoing all over the Southeast. You know, I got to notice that, you know, I was a late model guy, never really paid that much attention to the lower class. You know, I didn't pay attention to the hobby top class. I was waiting for the late models to come out. I got to notice the video that the Camaros and the extra cars, they put on the best show. You know, the late model, I'm not cutting down the late model, but like I said, I'm a late model guy. But
I'm a late model driver, and I agree with you, Leo.
It's banging in actual racing the way it used to be. Right now, that's the class that's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't have all the speed. You know, they're not. You know, they don't have all the noise as far as what the late model sounds and all that. And, you know, but you know, they as far as racing and fan support and you know, a late model, you don't really want too many people working on it because there's a lot to mess up on. You know, you got the first few that you'll let work on the car. But a Camaro, anybody can work on it. So you got the whole family out there working on the cars. You're bringing, you know, 10, 15 people with you. You know, and you know, you just got a big support behind you, and I think that's a lot of why, you know, not the last race we talked about, but the Memorial Day, could have been another person and talked to much people.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, man, I've never seen that place as packed as it was.
Me either.
That was awesome.
Biggest crowd ever, and you know, Leo, you're right about that. Even before there was the All-Star Stock Car Series, I know at our place at Cochran, and I think East Alabama, I would go as far to say probably Albany, any of the tracks around here, Swainsboro, that pure stock class, there is always a huge field of cars in the pure stock. I don't care what the economy's doing. I don't care. I mean, there's going to be, they never disappoint.
Well, you know what's awesome about that class in the series that Leo knows put up is ever since they started the series, it seems like about halfway through the first season, the caliber of race car drivers and the cars that these guys actually build. I mean, you're seeing race cars out there now that are just as nice as our late models.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not as expensive as some of the guys are getting on social media and saying. Mm-hmm. It's just the time and the effort that these guys are putting into these cars now is immaculate. I mean, the Camaro that I'm driving, Carl and those guys went all out on. It's a gorgeous piece. Yeah. And like Buddy Chancey and Michael Davis, I mean, those cars are just immaculate.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's hard to beat guys like that because they put all their time and effort into their race cars, and that's what you have to do to be competitive.
Exactly.
Well, you can go spend a lot of money on a race car. You can spend as much money on a race car as you want.
You do that on anything.
You know, but you got, you know, I give you an example. Brian Grantham, you know, he didn't run this beautiful ride. He ran this whole ride at Golden Isle a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I know for a fact, I think he paid $7,500 for that car. He probably doesn't even have, you know, $3,000 or $4,000 in the motor. You know, $6,000 he outran probably $15,000 car. Yeah. So you know what you do with what you got. It doesn't matter. Yeah. About what you got.
Yeah. Leo, I know that the points champion, the championship run, it's pretty tight, and Michael Davis leading the points, and I know that Cole rained on Michael's parade down in Cochran last time, but Michael made a last lap pass on Bud Chancey. Matter of fact, we got a chance to talk to Bud the weekend after that, the show after. I didn't know that Bud had come all the way from Iowa. He had to fly from Iowa to come and race because he's doing work out there. I think he's a welder.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and had to go back.
He's got the money now, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that explains it all. There we go.
He's got 4 or 5 cars.
I don't have anything to do with me.
Now, Leo, just a snapshot of the points battle right now. It's pretty tight among the top 5 right now, right?
Yeah, I think A lot of people, the way my points are structured is basically from first to last, it's a 50-point spread. So if you got a bad night, if Michael was in last, the first team and Bud wins the next race, Bud would be 30 points ahead. A lot of people think that it looks like it's so good. It's far from it. You still got basically a half a field between the first and second guy for the points go with one minute race. It's going to get good. Last year, it came right down to the wire. I think Kyle, he had to come and get a tire, and Branson was actually running second points. And at the time, he was running third in the race, and Kyle had to come in at 1 point. I think there was like a 1 point difference between the two. So,
wow.
Last year it came down to the very end. Kyle kind of threw the way through the field. It was aggressive pull the over with, but it got pretty interesting last year.
Well, I've missed one race, and the first race in Lake City that I did race, I think I had like a 23rd place finish because the transmission busted, and I think I'm like 14th or 15th in the points with them. So that shows if you run good, you can still you can miss a race or have a bad race and still come up through there in the points.
Yeah, absolutely. We're being joined on the line right now, Mr. Leo Johnson. Leo's a part of the Deep Dixie Racing team. They do a great job with the website, he and his wife, Carolyn, and they're a big part of the Deep Dixie Racing Report, and all of us are just one big team here, and these guys have been extremely busy. Leo, I know that this weekend is going to be a huge weekend. Looks like the weather's going to hold out, thank God. Real quick, before we wrap it up, talking about the All-Star Stock Car Series, obviously, I know that you've heard the news about Johnny Tribble and really did not even have time to catch our breath. We lost Will Thompson last week, and then just less than a week later, then Johnny Tribble passes away. But I know Will was very much a part of that pure stock community. Did you know Will very well, Leo?
I never got to meet Will. Mr. Tribble, I watched him race many times. I think that he's Alabama. He went over to the state nationals and watched him over lunch in Concord. I don't believe I ever got to meet him either. But I think most of them I've never heard a bad word about them. And I know a lot of people are upset about what's happening this week. We long do is pray for the family. Especially Will. As young as he was. I guess your time's time, but that's kind of hard for a family to lose somebody that young.
Yeah, absolutely. Leo, getting back to the racing before we let you get out of here. Huge race this weekend at Golden Isle Speedway. Guys, if you're looking for a place, go watch some great racing. Brunswick, Georgia is the place to be. There's going to be 2 shows paying $5,000 to win in each one of them. The Southern Thunder late models, Mr. Ben Sumner and his group coming into Golden Isles. And then, of course, Leo and Carolyn Johnson with the All-Star Stock Car Series. This is a hobby stock class, going to pay $5,000 to win, which is unheard of. And I think you're right, Leo, probably the only series like that in the entire country. But once we get Brunswick in the books, give us a rundown of what is left in the 2015 season and how y'all schedule shakes out.
Well, we go back to Golden Isle, 1,500 win. That was originally a Waycross race. Waycross, they went another route, not playing financial-wise. Daryl, as soon as she canceled, Daryl called me up. And, he took the race place. After that, we're going to Lucas County. We're going to venture down there. It's kind of a long shot deal here. We don't have any cars. We don't have a pretty sure. We're going to have a full field, but I'm getting a bunch of response from the guys that run down there in the Thunder Stock class. They're wanting to race with us. We're down a little bit of horsepower, but I think we can drag about 20 cars down there. They can make the drag about 20. I think we can have a good race.
They go once, they'll be sure to go back.
Cool.
It's $2,500 a wheel, but that's a good payout for that far deal. And then we go get season at the showdown on the coast. $10,000 a win. Probably I'm hoping this year, I'm hoping to have anywhere from 70 to 80 cars. This show goes good and it goes clean. I think that, the word to get out because, we got people coming in from outside and then, they'll send the word back out and, and then they'll bring some people back with them. So, I hope every year this thing grows, no matter what happens. Like I said, there may be a couple of 10,000 races out there for these kind of cars, but there's not many. And, we're kind of proud to have it at Golden Isles. So that's the premier place in the Southeast. I don't care what anybody says. Golden Isles, nobody talks bad about it. That's where everybody wants to go in. So,
Yeah.
That's what we're proud of to have it there.
Yeah. Well, Leo, man, we appreciate you taking time to be with us. We're going to let you get out of here. And before we shut this thing down, we're actually going to go from you, and hopefully we'll be able to get a hold of Daryl Corson. He's the promoter. And, folks, one more time, this weekend coming up at Golden Isle Speedway in Brunswick, Georgia. Go down there to the Georgia coast. It'll be an outstanding program of racing. It'll be tomorrow night and Saturday night at Golden Isle Speedway. And going to be a lot of money on the line for the late models as the Southern Thunder late models roll into town. The All-Star Stock Car Series coming as well. This is a hobby stock class. $5,000 to win in that All-Star Stock Car Series race. Ben Sumner's Southern Thunder late models, $5,000 to win. They're paying $350 to start that race. That's a good amount of tow money regardless of what happens. And they'll also have other racing, regular racing on the program as well. Friday and Saturday night, looks like the weather's going to hold out. Going to be a great weekend. Hopefully you'll be able to go down there and be a part of it. Leo, we always appreciate you joining us, man. Best to you and Carolyn, not only this weekend, but the remainder of the year. And hope you have the best weekend ever down at Golden Isles, buddy.
I appreciate you as well. Thank you.
All right. God bless you, Leo. Have a good one, man. Mr. Leo Johnson, the promoter, along with his wife, Carolyn, of the All-Star Stock Car Series. Brother Cole, we are on the white flag lap. Dale, let's see if we can get a hold of Daryl Corson, and going to see if we can get a hold of him. And all right, man. Going to talk to him. Daryl was actually doing a few radio spots promoting the racing down at Golden Isle this weekend, and I'm hoping that he's done. I told him we'd try to catch him at the end of the show. Guys, we do appreciate y'all supporting and tuning in to the Deep Dixie Racing Report. I never really realized how many people watch this show until we missed the show, and people started asking him what's going on, and we enjoy bringing the show to you, and I think a lot of people tune in, and we want it to keep growing. We want to gain traction and momentum, so keep watching. Brother Daryl, Pastor Todd Sharon, Deep Dixie Racing Report. How are you, friend?
I'm fine. How are you doing tonight?
We're doing good, buddy. I know that you have been a busy man. I know you've been promoting this weekend's racing on local radio down there, and we just got off the line with Leo Johnson, the promoter of the All-Star Stock Car Series. A little earlier in the program, we had an opportunity to speak with Ben Sumner. He's the promoter of the Southern Thunder late models, and Daryl, as always, man, it seems like every time we talk to you, you guys have a huge show going on down there at Golden Isle Speedway. As a promoter and from a promoter standpoint, tell us about what's happening this weekend.
Right. Well, like I say, we got Southern Thunder late model All-Star Stock Car Series coming in. Both of them is going to be running for $5,000 to win. Looking for a good turnout in both classes, and having lots of phone calls, people coming from out of town and getting seats and trackside parking. It's building up to be pretty good. I believe that the thing's going in the right direction.
Absolutely. If you're just tuning in to the Deep Dixie Racing Report, this one just about in the books, and we're wrapping up our show with the promoter of Golden Isle Speedway down in Brunswick, Georgia. Excuse me, Mr. Daryl Corson. And Daryl, I know that Golden Isle has become a hot spot for big events. And what I mean by that, the Super Bowl of racing, the Showdown. Not only you're hosting a huge race this weekend, but you guys are fresh off of another big weekend that just took place. Tell us how all of that shook out.
Well, last weekend we had the the ultimate super late models here, and we got in for Friday night show, and kind of washed us out on Saturdays. And instead of sending everybody home and hoping they'd come back later, I decided to go ahead and run it on Sunday, which is normally a pretty rough day, and it turned out to be rough. But we made it through it, and people got to see some racing. We got to do some racing. We didn't have to go back home. The weather kind of turned on us, and we just done the best we could with what we had. And I think all in all, it went over really good. And then we right back at it again for this race this weekend. So it's a non-stop deal for me.
Yeah, I got you, man.
The help I have is, it's unbelievable how much time we put into this place. It's worth it. It's a good facility, and we're trying to make it better every day. So, it shows, I believe.
And having to run in the daytime like they did, Daryl, this is Cole Exum, by the way. The video that I saw of them racing in the daytime, those late models, they put on a good show.
Yeah.
For it to be rough and dusty, it's hard to race in the daytime anywhere. But they put on a very good show.
Especially with
this daytime race is hard to do. Even with the moisture, it's drying out. When you found an all the super late models that's going to, I don't know of any track here in the daytime this time of the year is going to stay moist all the time.
You can't. There's not any.
But it's because it has so much new play on it. We didn't really get packed in as good as I wanted to, even though I worked on it for things like ever, me and Larry, some of us. It was good. It gave them two groups. One was in the bottom, some was up top. The one was in the bottom had a little rougher ride, but it made a good show.
Yeah.
Daryl, I just heard you say that y'all got new clay. Is it the same clay that y'all had on it when we ran the Super Bowl there, or is it different type of clay?
Yeah, it's same clay coming out of the same hole. So
okay.
we digging all we can get out of that hole.
I hear you. Well, Daryl, I think that you guys really, hats off to y'all for being able to get that show in. And we've talked about this before. From a promoter standpoint, a lot of times when people roll into the racetrack to either race or to go as a fan, there are so many things that figure into a show, especially a big show. Just a few things that comes to the top of my mind is the food, all of the food you have to order. You've got advertising dollars invested for a certain day. Not only that, if you end up getting rained out, trying to find even one day to squeeze in with everything that's happening is almost impossible. And then if you got to come back and try to find a makeup day, things can go south in a big hurry. So, Daryl, I know that it's not what you normally like to do to pull the trigger on a Sunday race, man, but hats off to you. And, hey, man, we got washed out in Cochran. I saw they got washed out in East Alabama. Everywhere. And the funny thing is in our area, there wasn't a high chance of rain. It was 20% chance of rain, and we got hammered.
And, I seen on Facebook a lot of people gave Chris Martin a lot of, down words on him calling the race as early as he did. But these guys don't understand. There's people that are at home.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us guys, we might have wanted to go somewhere else and race, or we had a long trip home. He called that race at the perfect time. And even if it stopped raining when it did, the pits were nothing but mud. The infield was a pond. He made a great call.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I'm glad you brought that up. It's one thing, I guess we've got armchair quarterbacks, we got armchair track owners and everything else, and I know that everybody gets bummed out when the races are called, but man, I tell you, being a race promoter, you're almost in a no-win situation, ain't you, Daryl?
Oh, yeah. You have to make the call that you feel like it's going to be the right call for that time of the day. I waited Saturday as long as I could, and it was never let up, And, I had to make the call, and I got with Kelly, which is the Ultimate Series director, and I told him, I said, everybody's here. Let's go ahead and get the show over with on Sunday, and everybody's done. There's a lot of people that don't understand why you do certain things you do in this racing world. But if they come and follow a track promoter one day to see what goes on at the track, then they'll say, I know why he does what he does. Mm-hmm. Because there's so many things that you have to do before you open the gate. It's not open the gate to go race. It's days and days of work.
Yes, yes.
Well, Daryl, I'm sure you can back me on this one. You know, a lot of, not necessarily the drivers, it's more or less the fans that, really go on social media and down tracks, but they don't understand whenever you get a rain that comes down as hard and as fast as like what we got in Cochran, and I'm sure y'all got the same thing. It's not like you just throw race cars on the racetrack back then and go back to racing. There's a lot of maintenance and prep that goes into getting us a suitable racetrack to race on.
Yeah, and I've learned over the years doing this track that, when you get a rain, if you've got a little time to let it sit, don't touch it, even upwards of an hour. If you've got that kind of time that you can wait on it, let it soak in before you start, you'll be able to get your track back. If you jump right on it right after the rain, all you're going to do is make a swap hole, and it's not going to be good for the cars, fans, or anybody. So, doing it as much as I've done it, it's just, you kind of know about what length of time it takes to get a track prepped, and then if you don't have that time, then you have to make that call and move it to another night or day or whatever. But, the fans, like I say, a lot of them understand, some don't. The whole thing is, knowing that you've got to do what you got to do because they bought that ticket, you want them to see a good race, and I do everything in my power I can to make the race go on.
Yeah, and Daryl, how many times, I know I've seen it, that you work feverishly to get that track race ready because you just know the fallout if you don't. And then you're pulling rigs and motorhomes and everything else out of the hole just because you get the racetrack ready. That don't mean that the pits are suitable. And it's but anyway, man, enough about that. Good job on y'all's behalf, and we appreciate it. Daryl, before we let you get out of here, real quickly, I want you to break down the schedule. Give us the itinerary on everything and how it's going to happen beginning tomorrow. It's a 2-day event. And I'm going to let you tell us all about what time the gates open, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. All right. Well, the gates are going to open at 12 noon for the pits and 4 for the grandstand. And tomorrow night, what we're going to do is we're going into the hot lap sessions. Then we'll go into the 2-lap qualifying for each division. And then we'll run some heat races for the local Super Street D-Mods, and then the All-Star Stock Car Series on their heat, and the Southern Thunder on their heat. Then tomorrow night, I'm going to have 2 features, which will be my D-Mods and Super Street. And then weather permitting and time permitting, I'm going to open the track up, let them get some more time on the track if they want to. It won't be a long time, but, if it's possible, I'll let them go as long as I can. And then we'll come back on Saturday and we'll do the hot lap session again. Then we'll do the last 10 races for the All-Stars, and then the last 10 for the Southern Thunder. And then I got 3 more heats, and right on into the features, and we're going to run the Enduros, the PQ late models, the Southern Thunder late models, my 440 class, and then we'll run the All-Star Series last. But I believe with everything, the way I got it laid out, nobody will be in a different world. They'll all be on the same track and have a good track. I'm hoping all night. So I think that's, it can be adjusted if we need to, weather or whatever it is. But for the most part, we sit down, we figure these things out the best we can, and try to split it up because of the drivers. Some of them running 2 classes, and you have to give them time. So there's a lot goes into just getting a lineup ready.
That lineup sounds immaculate to me. That is perfect.
Well, Daryl.
Well, thank you. I worked hard on it.
I hear you, man. Daryl, I think that it's safe to say that regardless, if you come Friday night, if you come Saturday night, or you make it to both nights, you're going to get a belly full of racing. And thankfully, it looks like the weather's going to hold. And we just hope here in Georgia in the summertime, you never know what's going to happen with this kind of heat, these pop-up showers, but everything looks good to go. And Daryl, as always, man, I have kind of nicknamed you the visionary, man. You're not afraid to take a chance. You'll bring the monster truck. You'll do whatever you got to do, at least try it. And, man, we applaud you for that. And you guys got a lot of good stuff going down there at Golden Isle. And night before the big weekend, we sure do appreciate you carving out time to be with us, buddy. And our best to you, the entire staff, and everything this weekend, as well as the rest of the season.
Well, I appreciate it, and our condolences go out to the Treble family on their loss. And like I was telling you earlier today when we spoke, you're welcome anytime you want to come over and get on that mic and hear the talking.
Can we get him there this
We'll be
weekend?
here all weekend. I think I counted up. If we don't have no caution laps at all, we're gonna run about 300 laps on this track.
Wow. How about that? Well, let me ask you one more question, Daryl. If I come, is it all right if I bring Dale, the Dog Pound Hall, with me?
Yeah, bring him on. He can take and see some good racing.
I hear you. All right, Daryl. Well, thank you so much for joining us, man. God bless you. We hope you have a good evening, man.
Thank y'all, and I wish y'all the racers good luck this weekend.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Thank
Folks, that is going to do it for another great night of discussion. Some of it has been lighthearted. Not everything has been, fun tonight. Of course, we do mourn the loss of a couple of people. Will Thompson, Mr. Johnny Tribble. We lost one of our all-time great race fans, Mr. Bobby Holmes. This man was 80 plus years old, come to the races every single weekend. Neat, trim guy, lived a good long life, and Bobby had a good life, but we miss him. And I know there's other people. Hal Carty, we lost Hal. We were just trying to think of everybody that has passed away. Mr. Bobby Young, we lost Mr. Tony Pettis, and the list goes on and on and on. I know there's other people, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but it suffices to say that there, while we are in the summer stretch, there's a ton of racing, a ton of action going on. There's also a lot of grief. And, we can't forget that in the midst of everything that happens locally and people that you and I know, we heard the announcement this week about Buddy Baker. He told everyone that he's been diagnosed with lung cancer. And if you want to go and hear his actual story, and he'll tell you all about it from start to finish, how it all came about, how he found out, and what's going on now. You can visit deepdixieracing.com, the website. There's about a 6-7 minute audio clip there, and you'll be able to hear Mr. Buddy Baker talk about his battle with cancer and how they're going about it. But the reason I'm saying all of that is we start every show with prayer, we end every show with prayer, and this is a racing family. I mean that. We have come from all different walks of life, all different areas, and you name it, but we all share one thing, a common love for racing. And when somebody is suffering, I really do believe everybody feels it. And again, our condolences to Will Thompson's family. Anybody that is able to go to Johnny's funeral, Johnny Tribble, tomorrow, 11 a.m. at Lowe's Funeral Chapel. That's in Helena, Georgia. You can go on the website and find out the direction. It's going to be at 11 tomorrow. There's going to be a great tribute. I know that they're expecting at least 10 race cars to travel in the procession, which is going to be one of those chill bump moments. But our thoughts and prayers are with them, as well as Buddy Baker, Will Thompson, and the others.
I almost forgot. I need to give a birthday shout out to my engine builder's father, Mr. Jack Patrick. He's I want to say he's mid-80s, and that man gets up every day and he works in that shop and builds engines, turns camshafts. He's in great shape to be doing what he does every day. And happy birthday, Mr. Jack. I appreciate everything you do for me in case you happen to see this tomorrow or something.
All right. Well, guys, we are about ready to shut it down again. Our thanks to Mr. Raymond and Amy Poor, their staff here at the Rescue Smokehouse Grill. Guys, they're going to be open until 10, got about 45 minutes. Again, our sponsors, we couldn't do it without them. Mike Hurd, 5-Star Honda in Warner Robins. Also, Mr. Bill Cheek, Heartland EMS down in Cochran, Georgia. And if you'd like to come on and be a sponsor of the Deep Dixie Racing Report, guys, we could use your help. We really could. We do this primarily because we love to do it. There is some expense involved, and there's also a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. And again, my thanks to the team, Brian Hester, who really does. Brian does a great job, man. He saved us last week. Driver interviews down at Cochran, fighting the weather. And I want to tell you, man, I really felt like I wasn't sick, but I really felt like that I just needed to spend some time alone with God last week. I really felt like that I needed to take some time and do that, and I appreciate the other guys stepping up, man. Y'all do a great job, and I give him a hard time, and he's still trying to decide which nickname he wants. But Dale Hall, Dale's been a friend to me for a long time, man, and Dale is a great guy, and he and Carolyn and Leo with the Deep Dixie Racing site, I don't think anybody would argue. That's the best racing website anywhere. And, we sure do appreciate it.
And you do a great job too.
Oh, well, thank
As
you.
much as I talk, I have a hard time talking behind the camera. So, you do a
Thank
great
you.
job, man.
Thank you, man.
You do.
Thank you, Brian. Stay up here with us, Brian. Guys, we are going to shut it down. And, again, before we do, thanks to all of you that tune in. Golden Isle, big race. There's other races going on. Cochran's off this week. Will Thompson's family, we love you. We're praying for you. Johnny Tribble's family, we love you. We're praying for you. Mr. Buddy Baker, if somehow, some way you see this, hear this, we're praying for you, buddy. Our thanks to Ben Sumner, Leo Johnson, Daryl Corson, Johnny Tribble's family, and of course, my buddy Cole Exum, who hung in here with us from start to finish. We're going to end this show with a word of prayer. Wherever you're at, please take a moment and join us in prayer.
Thank you, Brian.
Yes, buddy. Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus, the only name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. And Lord, we thank you for a chance, first of all, to be a part of this racing family. There could have been anybody to be a part of this, and you've allowed us to do it, Lord. We've come from different places and different walks of life, but we've all landed here in this area together, and we thank you for that. We thank you for the friendship, and we thank you for all the camaraderie. And Lord, we pray for Johnny Tribble's family. Just I pray that everything goes well with this service tomorrow. Let everything unfold and develop without any problems. Lord, we thank you for all that Johnny meant to so many people, and we just pray for comfort for his family and loved ones. Will Thompson's family, we pray for them. I know that they are still hurting very bad, and Lord, we just ask for strength for them. Mr. Buddy Baker that made the announcement about his health challenges. We just ask for you to let everything happen the way it's supposed to. Comfort the hearts, Lord, that are hurting, and lift up the heads that are downtrodden and that are hanging low tonight, Lord. We just know that life can be tough, but we know that you've overcome this world and you can give us strength. We pray for those that are sick among us in our racing family, those that are recovering from injuries. We pray, Lord, for the driver that was burned in Sonoa. Please let him get well soon and without any lasting effects. Our servicemen and women, as well as their families, we lift them up. And Lord, as always, before I end, somebody that's watching this show or listening or can hear my voice, however far this is going, there's somebody that's not saved. If there's anybody that hasn't bowed their knee at the foot of the cross, doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. Doesn't mean you won't mess up. We all do. I do every day. But Lord, you're not looking for perfect people. You're looking for people that will give their life to you so that you can help us, Lord, every day. It's a learning process every single day. If there's anybody that's not saved, that's watching, please let them give their heart to you while there's still time. Thank you for letting us do this show and be with all of our racers and fans this weekend. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, on behalf of my good friend, Brian Hester Carolyn, Leo Johnson, the best man in racing, Dale Hall behind the camera, and my co-host tonight, Cole Exum. This is Pastor Todd Sharon, your host, track announcer at Cochran Motor Speedway, saying God bless you. Hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday on the Deep Dixie Racing Report. Let's get out of here, guys.